Hi, this is the good morning, or afternoon, whatever. This is the Sunday School outline for August 1st, 2021. I think this is proper 13. I'm titling today's lesson, The Calling That Called You, Grow Up. The lectionary readings for today are Exodus 6, 2 through 4, 9 through 15, 2 Samuel 11, 26, 12 through 13, Psalm 51, 1 through 12, Psalm 78, 23 through 29, John 6, 24 through 35, and Ephesians 4, 1 through 16. Those are all good Bible passages. You should read them all and have them memorized. I'm afraid I don't. What attracted me was Ephesians 4, 1 through 16. So that's what I'm going to read. And here goes. I, Paul speaking, Paul the Apostle, I, therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that you walk worthy of the vocation wherewith you are called. Another way to say this last phrase is the calling that called you. Kind of redundant sounding, and English grammarians don't like that. Pedants, they're all pedants. Grammarians, you've got to be a pedantic to be a grammarian. It's not redundant, it's emphatic. It adds weight to the concept that the Christian life is different somehow from the unchristian life. Paul emphasizes this difference even more by styling himself as not only being imprisoned for the sake of Christianity as a movement, but he's a prisoner of the Lord. His whole incarceration is part and parcel of God's plan. So that should make what he's about to say important enough to listen to, and his audience is already part of his endeavor and give him credentials to speak. Of course, they've already read through 3 chapters of his letter, so they shouldn't stop now. So, to what calling have we been called? With all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. Well, looks like this calling to which we have been called is exactly what Rodney King said. Can we all get along? But this is extreme getting along. Paul uses words like lowliness and meekness. We don't get along by forcing others to behave properly. We get along in a different way. There is one body and one Spirit, even as you are called in one hope of your calling. One Lord, one faith, one baptism. One God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all. One God, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one body. This one applies to who? But unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Christ. Every one of us. But not according to us, but according to Christ. No matter what we come to the situation with us, it's the qualities of Christ that gives us grace and access to this one body, this one Spirit, this one calling, this one God, this one Lord, this one faith, this one baptism. And did I leave anything out? Wherefore he saith, when he ascended on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts unto men. Now that he ascended, what is it? But that he also descended first into the lower parts of the earth. A lot of people really love these 2 sentences, talking about Jesus going to hell and preaching to the captives there, and then, well, anyway. Now, these 2 sentences extend the gifts of Christ to not just those in the know, by the way, but to all. He led captivity captive. That means there's no more captives. Nobody, nowhere is captive. In other words, Christ broke all barriers down. He that descended is that same also that ascended up far above all heavens, that he might fill all things. And here's the important part. Paul affirms the deity of Christ in this little phrase, that he might fill all things. He says Christ fills all things. That means two qualities we associate with being God, deity. He, Christ, is everywhere. He fills all things. And it's his power that drives everything that does anything. He fills all things. He makes it happen. Okay, and what did he do with his power that he rules the universe with? He gave some apostles, and some prophets, and some evangelists, and some pastors and teachers back to us. Jesus is everything. None of us is everything. Some are just apostles, some just prophets, some just evangelists, some just pastors, and some just teachers. For the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ. But all these qualities of leadership aren't so individuals may have status, but to make good people better, to help those who work more, and to keep a healthy body healthier. I'm afraid status is not its own goal. Yeah, it feels good to be on a board, or to be a teacher, or to be a preacher, or something like that, but it's not about the position. It's about being connected to each other, till we all come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. Oh, back to the lowliness and unification thing. But what about folks who don't get this spiritual unification thing? That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. Well, they are liars, apparently, and spiritually mature folks don't need to worry about liars as much as inexperienced folks. But they need to keep their spiritual phone lines open, by the way. But speaking the truth in love, may grow unto him, may grow up unto him, even all things, which is the head, even Christ. And speak the truth in love. Now that means honesty, not deceiving anybody, but telling the right thing, saying stuff that helps, not just saying stuff. From whom the whole body fitly joined together and compacted by that which every joint supplieth, according to the effectual working in the measure of every part, maketh increase of the body unto the edifying of itself in love. So, this is still a continuation of the thought of the first verse. This is still talking about the calling to which we have been called. This calling is to be part of the whole, one body, fitted together in love. Is this just Christians, or is this the whole world that's called? Well, the passage doesn't quite answer that. I'd like to say it's the whole world, but as far as this passage goes, I'd be making that up, so I'm not going to say that. This passage does not provide much of a contrast, like other passages of Paul's, with the unchristian way of doing things, ways that cause dissension, strife, and envy. Other places, there's lots of language on that. But here, Paul just compares them to children. This passage only concentrates on the positive, and that's a lot. This comparing unchristian attitudes to immaturity should be encouraging. There's hope for everybody. You just have to grow up into that hope. So that's my lesson for this week. Come to class if you can. If you don't. Have a good week. Thank you. Bye.